Yo, what's good, y'all boys? We're back again with another video. It's your boy, Boss Enosch. You feel me? And so, look, Anna Kasparian. We did one video on her before where, you know, her side of the political spectrum, whatever, the left, they were coming at her because she said, don't call me a birthing person. I'm a woman. As you may know, birthing person and all them other shits, that's the lingo that a lot of them trans and gender LGBTQ people try to use because it's more inclusive. But no, women give birth. You're not a birthing person, okay? That just sounds weird. And she's like, yeah, don't call me that shit. And, you know, they got on her head. And she's been saying a couple other things that go against what her side believes. There was one thing about, you know, they're talking about violent crime and violent offenders and how they just been running the streets. And you know how Democrats and left people on the left, their position on the crime and stuff, like, oh, you know, they're misunderstood and they have mental issues. They're going through a mental episode. Yeah, you know, bullshit. And it's funny though, because they say that about violent criminals, but at the same time they get mad when they say that about the school shooters. Isn't that funny? You know what I'm saying? It's funny. I just thought about that just now. So look, anyways, more and more the left have been turning against the Young Turks and Anna Kasparian specifically. And lately, and as of recently, it's come to like as of lately, it's blown up a little bit because she was on some podcast that I guess is a right-wing podcast. I don't know. I never heard of them. And they said something about trans people that caused one of their hosts on the Young Turks to leave, and they made a whole video talking about it. So we're going to watch some of it and see if there's anything, you know, valid, right? We're going to get their perspective, right? So yeah, so this is the person, Benny. As you can see from their bio, we can already tell what type of person this is. Marxist, Leninist, news bimbo with 4 degrees. Okay, I'm done with the Young Turks. This latest escalation on transphobia has just gone too far, and I can't let my presence there seem like a tactic endorsement of their views. Tacit.
Couple things, and we have questions on these, but I'll let Sitch. I don't know. Do you have anything that you want to ask before we get started?
So, yeah, it turns out that Anna is a massive fan of our program. She's seen every episode, just huge fan, right?
Well, okay, so I happened to come across a video you guys did about me. It was the stream on, I hate to name names, but you guys were covering the leftist mafia and their insane gaslighting video about me. And you guys were the only ones, as far as I could see, that actually did a good job in highlighting how badly they were gaslighting me. Right. And so I thank you for doing that, because, you know, when everyone around you, everyone who alleges to be your friends, tells you something you know isn't true, but they keep repeating it to you over and over again, you start asking yourself, like, am I the crazy one? You know? So that, I really appreciated that. But, you know, you guys have put out a ton of videos about me that have not been friendly or nice, and it's okay. I mean, I can be a good sport about it, and I do think that you guys raised a few valid points, and I just need to be willing to accept where I was wrong and where people are critiquing from good faith. Like, you guys have a little bit of an edgy style. All
right, so that was some of the podcasts she was on. I guess they made a video about her. I don't know. The leftist mafia. This is the trans co-host video, and we're gonna see what they got to say. Okay, Ben Carlo. It's a 30-minute video, so I'm not gonna watch the whole thing though.
Alright, so in case it wasn't obvious from the title of this video, I'm done with TYT. Now, before we get into like everything about this isn't about all of the hosts. There are actually a ton of people at TYT that I think are genuinely cool people. This is mostly about Cenk and Anna. But of course, since like they're the people that are like the big names on the network and Cenk kind of like owns the company, it's a pretty big deal when they do something like, I don't know, become incredibly transphobic and start what appears to be a ridiculous right-wing grift. I mean, literally everything from the things...
Oh my gosh. Off rip. Oh, you don't agree with me? You're grifting! Yeah, see, I hate when they do that. Like, bro, You think, like, I don't know how you operate in the world if you think that just because someone disagrees with you on one thing, that means that they're trying to, they're trying to fake, like, you know, they're trying to fake like they supporting the other side instead. You know what I mean? Oh, you're grifting. Cause that's what grifting means. Grifting means that you're doing something just for views, just for attention. Like, you don't really believe what you're saying. You're just trying to appeal to their side. You know, people call just Pearly Things a grifter because she says a bunch of things that is just to appeal to men, even if it don't make sense, right? But, you know, I still don't know if she's grifting for real. I think she's just kind of dumb, bro. I don't know. You know, because listen, never mind. That's a whole different conversation. We're gonna react to a Just Pearly Things video after this one.
Things that they said about homeless people, to the stuff that they said about abolitionists, and their general sort of like refusal to hear the people that are criticizing them and saying, no, this is what people are actually trying to say, you're not really hearing what we're saying, or you're not listening. Now, we're not going to focus on literally all of the right-wing things that they've been doing lately, especially in the past year. They've done this pivot where they go after prison abolitionists, people who say defund the police, homeless people, and anybody that they think is a radical left. Because, you know, doing the enlighten the centrist thing is really a smart move in this year, 2023, right? I still got that calendar right. No, we're mostly going to be focusing on their transphobia, which they have been escalating rapidly, which I guess is something that everybody really predicted would happen starting, I think, about 6 months ago, 4 months ago, when Anna Kasparian put out a tweet complaining about the use of the term birthing person, which is really...
Then that was really 6 months? Damn. Yeah, but that's the video I made about.
Really funny, because she kept on talking about how, like, you know, racist women, and it minimizes womanhood down to just body parts. Except for it literally doesn't. Everybody very immediately pointed out that that's a silly thing to say, that in fact thinking that the term woman and birthing person are completely interchangeable actually does reduce women to body parts. And what precipitated...
Well, women are the ones that give birth to people, duh. And we all motherfuckers talking about, oh yeah, you're a birthing person. It's like, bro, why are you trying to change the lingo? That shit weird. Okay, that shit weird as fuck. This is what I don't like about these people, because they'll try to gaslight you. They will say something crazy, and when you don't agree, they're gonna say you're the crazy one. Oh, you're silly. You're being silly. Bro, don't gaslight me, dude. That's just gonna piss me off.
This is even more silly because it was originally in reference to AOC and other politicians using the term when they're talking about abortion rights. And I don't know if you know this, but abortion rights are pretty specific to people with uteruses who are capable of having children.
And what is that? That's women.
And so the term birthing person is a pretty useful term to be narrow enough to be specific, but also cover all of the relevant people, and that's why politicians have been using it in that context. Since posting the original tweet, literally it seems like they keep going back and forth whenever they hear that argument. Basically, if there's somebody reasonable in the room with them saying why the term birthing person might be used, then they're like, yeah, I guess it makes sense of that context, but I just don't like it. But when somebody reasonable isn't around, then they just go and complain about the term birthing person again. And that really is why so many people predicted that they were going to go into this extreme turf pipeline, because, of course, that's a very common starting point right there. The trans people are erasing women. Oh my god. But then everything escalated when they decided to talk about trans people in sports, which is a very common thing that a lot of cisgender people like to complain about, because they don't understand how hormones work. And instead of attempting to try and get any type of understanding, they just want to sit and argue about their assumptions about how they think hormones should work. They come in with all of these assumptions about biological males and think that there's some sort of magic secret advantage that just exists persistently regardless as to what.
So I'm not sure what this person is supposed to be. Their name is Ben. Has long hair. Kind of looks like a guy in the face, and the voice is kind of weird. So I'm not sure if it's a woman that was trying to be a man, or a man that wants to be a woman. I don't know, bro. That shit. Anyways, something that always annoys me is that when these motherfuckers come and talk about hormones, how the hormones affect the body and shit, and you have literal doctors that explain how the fuck this shit affects your body, but they come out here trying to act like they know more than doctors, bro, that study this shit, or they're smarter than basic biology. If you are changing your hormones, you're fucking your shit up, bro. And it's, you know, you're fucking it up. You're putting things in your body that's not supposed to naturally be there. You know what I'm saying? like, that's why a lot of them surgeries too, they have to continually go to the doctor for checkups and make sure the shit is straight, because their body's going to reject that shit. There was somebody, which surgery is it? It's the one where I think where they make a fake vagina. They have to keep going to the doctor to make sure shit is straight, because hair will grow inside of that shit. That shit can get infected. Whole bunch of issues with it, bro. That shit's nasty. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, this is what you're trying to sign up to do, and you'll never go back? Hell no, hell no, hell no. They're doing things to the body that's not natural. Your body's not supposed to naturally be that way.
But hormones are literally dictating what your body is doing at the time. And that's where I came in. And I started tweeting at some of the hosts, saying that, hey, you're wrong about this, that, or the other thing. You're missing these details. Hey, you are literally just being transphobic right now. I even reached out to people within the network to say, like, hey, I would like to maybe sit down with Cenk and maybe even have an on-the-air conversation where I could talk about how all of this stuff actually works. You know, I may not be a doctor, but I like to think that in my master's degree in biotechnology and my experience literally being a trans person, who, by the way, most trans people will do a ton of research about hormones before they get on.
How you got a master's in biotechnology and you're a fucking host for a journalist platform? I don't understand how you got there. You know what I'm saying? What are you using that degree for?
On them because...
Damn, I know your ass wanted that student loan forgiveness, boy.
A lot of doctors don't really know that much about it. So that's actually something that I did, where I spent a ton of time like reading through like research papers about what would be like the best for my transition, how it would go, and things like that. So I like to think with my background, with some experience in biology, and you know, reading a ton about how specifically hormone replacement therapy works for trans women like myself, I might know a thing or two.
Okay, trans women. So that is a man trying to be... I thought so. Them shoulders was kind of broad. A man trying to be a woman. Not doing a good job at it, buddy.
About all of these things. And I figured, hey, if Cenk doesn't know about this, maybe it'd be interesting for him to learn. But with that though, he wasn't really interested in having an on-the-air conversation because, you know, he seemed pretty intent on not changing his mind, but he was open to having a phone conversation. So I handed to him on that, like, yeah, great. So we had a chat over the phone. Now, obviously I'm not going to get into the details of literally every single thing that we talked about. I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis, because that's really all that's important. And there are two main sticking points that I really want to touch on that happened within that phone call that I think were really a sign of like how far things were gonna go, and honestly how much further things might go from here still. The first sticking point was Cenk seemed convinced of this idea that I'm living in some sort of bubble. They've even said it on the air, that people fighting for trans rights are all living in some sort of bubble. The problem...
They are. A lot of motherfuckers be the ones that be terminally online, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them be the ones that be on Reddit and they be on Twitter and shit, you know what I'm saying? Making the tweets that get a bunch of likes from bots and shit. They be them niggas, bro. You know what I'm saying? Them people is in the same category, or at least maybe not now, but for the longest time, them people's in the same category as like furries and shit, like just weird fringe stuff on the outskirts. And now, you know, people that are even trying to get more visibility for the people that's on the fringe, but it's because a lot more kids are identifying as LGBTQ. You know, they're grooming a lot of kids, making them think that they're trans and shit like that. Because, you know, so now it's like they're trying to force it into the forefront, but you know, people are pushing back because it's like a lot of that shit is harming kids. It's harming people's family members and shit like that, bro. So it's, you know, it's very interesting to watch it develop.
With that is, I have a lot of random trans people from a ton of different political perspectives that will like reach out to me about like, hey, how are things going at TYT? Or hey, you're really inspiring, you know, stuff like that. And I also have like a decent circle of friends and family, many of which who are sort of all over the place politically. I told Cenk very specifically, you know, I have friends that are like big Joe Biden fans, right? Like they are theoretically to your political right. His reaction to that was quite literally laughter, which I just thought was like so hilarious. And he just kind of wouldn't believe. He was like, no, you're in a bubble. You're in a bubble. And I kept pressing. I was like, no, Cenk, you don't understand. I matched with a random person on Tinder, and the first thing that they started talking to me about is how transphobic TYT has been lately. Because I think that they had just kind of figured out who I was. And Cenk was like, no, see, you're living in a bubble. And it's like, yeah, okay, buddy. That completely random person I matched with on Tinder is just part of the bubble that I'm magically living in. But really, that kind of gave me the vibe of like, oh, Cenk really...
Get off Tinder, go outside. Get off them dating apps and go outside. That's a message for everybody. Go talk to real people outside.
He thinks that like every trans person is part of some sort of ideology, that we're of like a strict like political viewpoint, and that we don't just exist as like a type of person that exists, you know? It really did seem like Cenk was of the mind that to be transgender is to subscribe to a very specific political viewpoint. Which, I don't know if you know this, but that's actually something that the, like, most unhinged transphobes are, like, spewing as conspiracy theories and stuff like that. They're like, these trans...
Okay, everybody knows that, bro. Everybody knows that. Not every trans person is the ones that we see acting crazy. You know, we say that time and time again. We really be talking about, like, them activist types, the ones that be going crazy, the ones we talking about. That's not every trans person. There's plenty of transgender people that be minding their own business. Like, that one guy, that one dude. He was on a Jubilee video. You know what I'm saying? There's people like that.
Trans rights activists are all part of this strict ideological group, and they're infecting people with this radical gender ideology. Is literally what like these unhinged right-wingers are saying. But it does kind of seem like Cenk is just kind of in that camp of like, oh, if you're trans, you must by definition be like some sort of radical leftist, you know.
All right, well, I can't really speak on this because he's saying some shit that you know, like nigga, we didn't hear that conversation. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Clearly, like, not connecting the dots about people like Caitlyn Jenner or Blair White existing, which honestly was just really, really frustrating to have in that conversation, because the people that are in my circle of friends are people who like literally have...
All right, next.
I pointed out something that Anna had said on the air, where I was like, hey,
okay,
Anna
what?
said this bit about doctors giving hormone therapy to children because they were afraid of being called transphobic. And I was very clear. I was like, you know that's not happening, right?
Oh my gosh. See, that's why I can't listen to these people, bro, because they be lying. They be lying. Plenty of people in the scientific community, plenty of people in the health community, the ones that are brave enough to come out and speak on this shit, will tell you, if they don't blindly affirm, right, if they question anything, they get in trouble. They get in trouble. There's plenty of trans people that have come out and said that, oh, they talked to the psychologist one time and they signed a order type shit to go to the doctor and go get some go get the hormones and shit. All they had to do was talk one time. There's plenty of people like Eli Ehrlich, who's trying to send the drugs to kids. They're like, oh yeah, just let me know. Just hit me up. If you're not able to get in your state, just hit me up and I'll send some to you. So what are you talking about? Come on, bro. Come on. Be real. Be for real.
Like, you know that isn't happening. And Cenk's response was, you know, I don't know. See, I could see it happening, though. And I'm like, no, but you couldn't. Because, you know, if that actually did happen, that would be medical malpractice, and it would be like a federal case to just...
There's been plenty accounts of medical malpractice, but because the woke mind virus has infected so many areas of life, right? Especially in the health community, they don't speak out against shit that's bad because they will get chastised, bruh. Plenty of doctors. This is one Asian lady I be talking about. I forgot her name. I don't remember her name off the top of my head. But she's an example of that. Like, she's telling them, like, when she spoke out against that shit, they like looked at her crazy. And it's the same thing with all these studies now too. Is like if they pick up any data that kind of goes against the main message, the main idea, what happens? Oh, you can't talk about that. Don't say that. Don't put that out, bro. That's facts, bro. It's not like when these people they're professional gaslighters. Well, maybe not professional, because it's not working on me.
Just give kids hormone replacement therapy because you didn't want to seem transphobic? That's ridiculous. On its face, it's ridiculous. Anybody who knows anything...
And it's like, you're literally doing it right now. Somebody says something that you don't agree with. Oh, you're transphobic. You're doing the same shit.
Think about politics would know that not only would that be a federal case, but it would be like national headlines. every single newspaper would turn that into the biggest story for.
You're lying. Oh my gosh. I don't understand how these people don't be seeing. Well, I don't say these people, it's him. They don't see how it's like all the mainstream platforms are on your side, right? All the mainstream platforms, they lean left. They're all on your side. They're not going to report when somebody that fits your description or your image or your side, right? Your camp. They're not going to show the negatives, bro. Unless it's something super severe. Take the Tennessee shooter, for example. Every other shooter, if they have a manifesto, they release it pretty quickly. It's been months, and they still have not released that manifesto. You know what I'm saying? And they don't even want to even bring up the idea that it may have been, they may have been a shooter because they were trans. You know what I'm saying? Like that was part of their, ideology. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get special treatment in the media. If there's anything negative, they don't talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So what are you talking about, bro? And when people like Matt Walsh go and expose certain stuff, like with hospitals doing that shit, where's the media coverage? Where is it? Nowhere to be found.
For months. I mean, literally, the biggest story transphobes have had for the past 2 months is Dylan Mulvaney being on a can of Budweiser. So do you think that they really wouldn't make it national headlines even if it just happened once? But no, Cenk still doubled down and was like, I don't know, I could see that happening. And it's like, great, we have somebody who is like the head of a news network who is like basing political opinions off of things that he could see happening. Like, what a wonderful position to be in at this point. Like, the real brilliant 5-head political take right there. You know, I could imagine this scenario, and that really says something about society, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. If he said that, then he just didn't have an example off the top of his head, probably. You know what I'm saying? Or he just wasn't taking the conversation serious.
And that had to be one of the most unhinged parts of that phone call. But whatever. I sent him some research papers about trans people in sports that went into detail pretty clearly about, like, hey, there's no evidence that there's any reason to discriminate against trans people in sports. And that was, like, the conclusion that it came to. Pretty far.
There's no reason. It's discrimination against women, that's for one. You know what I'm saying? It's against women, that's for one. You're a biological male. We don't even need to get into that, bro. I don't give a fuck. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. We've talked about this before. And even if a biological man was put into women's sports, right? After going through the hormones and even surgery, even shit like that, yes, they get weaker. That doesn't mean they're gonna be number one in every women's sport. Sometimes that doesn't change the fact that they're taking somebody else's spot. If, let's say, a woman won first place and the trans woman won second place, the woman that's in third place was the one that's supposed to be in second place. You're not even supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to be there, bro. You chose to go through that shit that fucked up your body. Why would everyone else have to pay the price for that? You know what I'm saying? Like with the Leah Thomas dude, whatever motherfucking name was. There's some other ones I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's like, yo, come on, bro, be for real.
Firmly, right? Hey, there's no evidence that we should discriminate against trans people. What a wild concept. It's amazing. I know. But Cenk apparently has learned the wrong lesson from that, especially when you look at some of the clips from his most recent rant about trans people that he just did the other day regarding trans people in sports and the extreme radical activists that support trans people in sports. Now, let's listen really quick to some of the clips from this rant to see where exactly Cenk is on these issues.
Cenk, that's how you say
no,
Cenk.
The hormone blockers do lower the testosterone, they do even things out a lot, right? But the men still have other physical advantages, like we maintain mass much better. Mm-hmm. And to give you a sense of how unfair this is, that where she won in Canada with 275-pound bench press, I bench press 275, okay? And that's
Okay, so what I nigga try to show off. He said, yeah, big Cenk.
it's not a big deal for a guy.
This is so ridiculous. This is literally so ridiculous. Okay, think about this. He's like, oh, this trans woman won a competition where she broke a record bench pressing 275 pounds. And clearly, that's unfair. Because I, a cisgender man, can easily bench press 275 pounds. Therefore, there must be an advantage. And it's like, my guy, she literally broke a record. Like, what are you talking about? She clearly
What the fuck? What did you just say? What are you talking about?
wasn't having like an incredibly easy time. You're stumbling so close to the point. Like, Cenk is literally incapable in this moment of separating trans women from cisgender men in his own brain right here. Like, he is
Oh my gosh. Because trans women are men, dude. What are you talking about, dude? That's like, duh.
fundamentally refusing to connect the dots.
All right, I want to see if LeBron said that he was a girl today, he was a woman today, and he joins the WNBA, and then he's just fucking bulldozes all them women on there. What y'all gonna say? Put a wig on them, and what? And the way these people talk too, you don't even have to go through none of the things to say that you're trans. You can just say that you're trans, and you're just not ready to go through the procedure yet. Procedure as in the hormones and the drugs and shit like that, not just surgery. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what a lot of people say. They say they're trans, but then they continue to do the things they're normally doing. So it's like, why? If you're a man or a woman and you enjoy doing things with the opposite gender, opposite sex, but then you say you're trans and you still do the same thing, then what are you doing? It's for attention.
That hormones maybe actually have an impact on, I know this is wild, your ability to maintain mass. That maybe perhaps, like, your biological traits are not dictated by some ethereal assignment of gender that you were given at birth, and maybe perhaps are actually dictated by the hormones that are like flowing through your body, telling your body what to do. Like, could he use...
Bruh, shut up. Oh my gosh, bro.
Could he have used a sillier example? He's trying to say that trans women have an advantage in sports because he personally, as a cisgender man that has never taken estrogen, would be able to beat them all at a bench press competition. This is just on its face ridiculous. But just wait, because it's gonna get worse.
I mean, it's okay, but it's not that big a deal. You're gonna put that in the women's division. I don't care how many hormone blockers you had. It's gonna make a difference, okay? And in the limited cases, they're not like instantly breaking every record like Trump is saying, right? But they're doing better than the average bear.
That's not true. Like, literally show me any statistic that shows that trans women are performing better than average in sports. In fact, that's part of the research that I showed Cenk, that it actually isn't happening. It literally is not happening. There is yet to be a trans woman win at the Olympics, despite the fact that trans women have been allowed at the Olympics for a long time now.
He literally just said that it doesn't mean that they're doing the best, that they're coming to break all the records. And I literally just explained it too. The fact that you're right there, a woman that's right here was supposed to be right there, but you came in and you already, especially if it's like a professional athlete that's already trained, a professional man that's already trained, and then goes through the procedure and all that, you still retain some of your strength, power, physique, and training. Okay? You weren't born as a woman. You didn't grow as a woman. You didn't train as a woman. So weakening yourself does not lower you to a woman, to the trained professional women. Okay? You're just not supposed to beat her. It is what it is.
Once again, it is almost like Cenk is refusing to take in the information that people are presenting to him, and is just making up things in his head and taking that as...
I don't know if you guys are ever going to see it. We shot a pilot just this weekend with a mixed Republican and Democratic family, okay? I asked them about trans rights. Should they have the same rights, same exact rights in housing, employment, etc.? Every one of them, including hardcore Trump people, were like, yes, they should have the same exact rights.
Yeah, exactly.
When I asked about this topic, every one of them, except one, 6 out of 7, were like, no, not competing in sports. Doesn't make sense. Men and women are different, okay? And so whether that's, we can get into the, continue that scientific debate, but as far as the American people go and politics go, you're gonna lose them. Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. You're gonna lose them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We should adjust all of our political opinions based off of what's popular and what's unpopular, right? Because here's the thing, Cenk. You personally, as somebody that works in the news, have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to actually inform people with the facts and not worry about...
Based on what's popular, bro, this shit don't make sense. Bro, I'm about to turn this off, bro.
Like,
oh my gosh.
How are they gonna worry about like what I'm saying? No, you just have to like give people the facts. And that as somebody playing the thing is actually true. And so I'm gonna say something that's not true just because it's a big smart brain thing to say. I think discriminating
Shut up.
opinions in order to mask his own opinion. He doesn't think that trans people should be allowed to play professional sports. And instead of just saying that, which I guess on some level he does, he hides behind,
that's why he said
the American people aren't ready for trans people to play sports, But it gets even worse because he basically follows this up by blaming trans athletes and anybody who dares to just support trans people existing for all of the transphobic legislation that is passing across the country and for Republicans winning.
That is incredibly selfish of activists who are betraying their own community. Because when you say I don't care about elections, who cares about the Democrats? That isn't the point. The Republicans introduced over 600 bills against the LGBTQ community. That's because of elections. And over 70 of them have already passed. When you say I don't care about winning and I don't care about elections, what you're saying is I'm super selfish leftist activist and I'd like to build my cloud. But meanwhile, I'm willing to throw trans people and the entire LGBTQ community under the bus, knowing that these bills are gonna pass because we're laser focused on a losing issue.
And he's like, oh, if Republicans win because the trans people want to play sports, it'll be all your fault. And like, how disgusting is that actually?
All right. Y'all got the gist. I'm not watching any more of this. I don't care. All right, man. Well, that was the video. Let me know what y'all think. I looked at some of the comments actually earlier, and most of them are against the Young Turks. They're on that motherfucker side. But yeah, y'all got the gist. A lot of these activist types, a lot of these trans activists, leftist activists, gender identity, whatever ideology people, they're gonna continue to try to gaslight. They can continue to try to say we're crazy. They're gonna continue to deny science. They're gonna continue to say things that even regular people understand. No, it don't make no fucking sense. Okay, but it is what it is. It's gonna continue to be that way. Democrats are gonna pander to them, but it just goes to show you the left will eat itself alive. Not even just the left, bro. People in general will eat itself alive if you go against the group. We've seen Republicans do it. We've seen Democrats do it. We've seen it on the right. We've seen it on the left. So continue to be your own person. Continue to think for yourself. And if something makes sense, speak on it. If it don't make sense, speak on it. You feel me? But hey, appreciate y'all for watching. Tune in for the next one. I'll see you. Yeah. Oh yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell and join the Discord. Link below.